I've got a graphics tablet here. You don't have to use a graphics tablet. You can use your mouse, or you can use a trackpad, or you could even bring things in from an iPad if you wanted to. But over here, I'm just going to set up let's just do it 600 pixels by 600 pixels. And I'm going to say transparent, okay, create. So here is my document, and you can see on the layers, it's just got one layer and it's completely transparent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the brush, and I'm going to choose a grey. We'll come to why grey in a second. And what I'm going to do is I'll just test this. That's about the right thickness. So I'm just going to write okay. Then I'm going to make a new layer. And on this layer, I'm going to write it again, but I'm going to make sure that I'm not doing it exactly the same. Very slightly different. I'm going to do 3. Okay, add another layer, and okay, so that's my 3. So if we just go through them, I've got this one, I've got that one, and that one. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and play those as a sequence in After Effects. Okay, so I'm just going to go File, Save, and I'll call it Mark. And it's just an ordinary Photoshop document with layers on my desktop. Now, we'll close that down. I'm going to go to After Effects. Let's stop this playing. I'm just going to open a new composition. So it's same thing, Full HD, black, 10 seconds. Now, in the project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, Import, File, and I'm going to select my Photoshop document now. And when you say Open, you will get this box pop up. Okay. I'm going to quickly run through what these do. So we're going to import it firstly as footage. Okay, so if you just bring that in as footage, what you'll see is it shows up as the Photoshop document, which if I just drag it in, it's only showing the layer that was visible. If my Photoshop document had them all visible, it would show them all flattened together. So what footage does, when you import it as footage, it flattens everything. It's like bringing in a JPEG. Okay. If I go Import, File, and I change it to Open, if I change it to Composition, I'm just going to don't click the one that says Merge, Composition. Watch what's going to happen over here on the left. Okay, so I'm going to say OK. Here we've got the individual layers, plus we've got a composition called Mark. Okay, so if I double click this, what you'll see, oh, that's not what I meant actually. Is that the right one? Oh, that's frustrating. I'll just see if this is, here we go. It's this is the one. It's called Artboard. You can see that it's got the 3 layers in. Okay, and I can turn them all on and off. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on here. Zoom right the way in so I can see the individual frames. And I'm going to select all 3 layers, and I'm going to say at 2 frames, I'm going to do Command-Shift-D, and I'm just going to delete those. Then I've got these 3 layers, but they're still on top of each other. So what I can do is I could either drag them out like that. Okay, but imagine I had loads of those layers. That would take a long time. So just so you know, you can select them all and right-click, and it's Keyframe Assistant, Sequence Layers. I don't want them to overlap, and you just say OK and it does it for you. So you can imagine if you had 50 layers, it would just sequence all 50. Okay, so I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. Now what we've got is we've got that. Okay, and you can see, I'm sure you've seen sort of text that sort of does that. But what we want to do is we want to make it loop. So I'm just going to zoom out, And this little handle here, the little blue one on the right, I'm just going to drag it along. And if you hold down Shift, actually, I'll get it to about there to start with. And I'm just going to, in this area here, the work area, I'm just going to right click. I'm going to say trim it. So it shortens it. So now it's just 25 frames long. And in order to make it loop, what I can do is I can just go copy and paste, drag those along. Okay, I'm going to go copy and paste, drag those along. And then I could select all of them, copy and paste, and just drag those along and get them to snap on. So now what we've got is we've got it doing this for just over a second. We could carry on, but again, what I'll do is I just grab that blue bar, hold down Shift, and it will snap on to the end there. And then in this area here, right click and just say trim it. So now this comp here, which is called Artboard, is now this. Okay, so if we play this, it does that. Now, if we just got on my thing, I've got a video. Inevitably, it's a Pexels video, so I'll just drag this in to here like this. And I'm just going to open a new composition. And I'm going to get my Pexels video and pop it in. So this video is some paint doing this. Okay. I'm going to make it fill the screen. Now my artboard, this one is the one with my text in. So I can drag this one in as well. I can just drag it in. Okay. And you can see that it now appears over the top. Okay. Now you're probably thinking it's too quick. Okay. So if you just play this, it's a bit too quick. So this is the next thing that I need to show you. If you get this here, this artboard comp, and you right click, one of the things in there is time. And you can say time stretch. So you can get this to play slower. So if you did it at 300%, it will be 3 times as slow. Okay. So now when you get it, 300's too much. Okay, but you get the idea. Now, why did I do it grey? The reason I did it grey is because then what I can do is I can go to here and I can get hue and saturation. Okay, and I can drag this hue and saturation onto my object. Then over here I can just hit colorize. And in colorize, then I can either increase the saturation or decrease the saturation. And because grey is it's sort of in the middle, this gives me the opportunity to change it to whatever color I want. I can make it lighter or I can make it darker. So doing it a grey just gives me the flexibility to make it do what I want. So I'm going to try and sort of match that pinky colour if I can. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Okay. And you can then just play this back. Okay, it's a bit too slow now, but you get the idea. Now, I did prepare a couple of other things, little bits and pieces, which are exactly the same. So over here, here's this, and you can see it's tiny, and you can see it's just a series of circles in a sequence to make this. Okay, so that's all it is. And again, I did it mid-grey, and this one's called BBBBB. So over here, I could say project, import, file, BBB, where is it? It's that one, BBBBB, open. I want it to be a composition, editable layer styles, that's fine, okay. So here it is, I think this is the one, BBBBB, and again, if you just drag it on, and we'll place it just sort of coming out of my name, and we can scale it, and we can rotate it. Okay, so we'll just sort of have it about there. And again, if you just, looks like I've made a mistake there. I haven't done the thing I need to do to it, but there it is. That's where we're going to put it. But if you double click BBB, you can see we just need to go through that little business of just doing the trimming. So again, I'm just going to set it to about sort of there. Select all the layers, Command-Shift-D, delete those bits, select them all, right-click, Keyframe Assistant, Sequence Layers, and that just staggers them out, so I don't need to do that manually. And now what we've got is we've got that. I've got it going the wrong direction, but that will stick with it. Okay, so we'll stick with it like that. Okay, and then when you go back to your original composition, what happens is this. Okay, so you can see it's only happening at the start. So it's those first few bits. So Command-Shift-D, delete that bit, and just slide this along to where you want it to appear after mark. There it is, it's coming out like that. And if you just played it now, you've got, okay, so you've got the starts of little bits of animation happening. And don't forget we can do all that colour. So if you can imagine those little symbols where you have, I think I exported one earlier. Did I save it out? I think I did. No, I didn't. But where you've got little marks coming out. Now, this technique is very common in animation. It's called boiling frames. So you have one or two slight variations and you just play them one after the other. And it gets that slightly live sort of look. So if you wanted to add hand-drawn text or hand-drawn symbols at little points within your video, that's how you do it. Okay, so you can do it in Photoshop as frames, bring it in, and add them into After Effects that way. So let me just pause that.